The Librarian. The town's library was a grand, historic building, filled with towering bookshelves and dusty tomes. By day, it was a place of learning and tranquility, but by night, it was said to be haunted. The legend spoke of a ghost librarian who had died tragically decades ago and whose spirit lingered, restless and vengeful. Caroline, a new librarian, had heard the stories but didn't believe in ghosts. She loved the quiet of the library after hours, using the time to organize books and indulge in her love of reading. One stormy night, as rain battered the windows and thunder rumbled in the distance, Caroline decided to stay late to finish cataloging a new shipment of books. The library was empty, the silence punctuated only by the sound of her footsteps and the occasional creak of the old wooden floors. She worked diligently, losing track of time until the grandfather clock in the corner struck midnight. The chime echoed through the library, and a chill ran down her spine. Shaking off the unease, Caroline continued working. As she reached for a book on the top shelf, she heard a soft whisper behind her. She turned quickly, but no one was there. She laughed nervously, convincing herself it was just her imagination. A few minutes later, she felt a cold draft, though no windows were open. The whisper came again, more distinct this time. "Help me," it said. Caroline's heart pounded as she glanced around, trying to locate the source of the voice. She saw nothing but rows of silent, shadowed bookshelves. Determined to prove to herself that there was no ghost, she called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" Her voice sounded small and hollow in the vast room. There was no response, only oppressive silence. Terror gripped her, but she forced herself to speak. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice shaking. The answer came not in words, but in a vision. Before her eyes, the library transformed. She saw a woman, dressed in an old-fashioned librarian's uniform, working late into the night. A shadowy figure approached her from behind, and in a flash, the vision turned violent. The woman was attacked, struggling against her assailant before collapsing to the floor. The shadowy figure fled, leaving her to die alone. The vision faded, and Caroline was back in the present, her heart racing. The journal lay open in her hands, its pages now blank. She understood now. The ghost was the murdered librarian, seeking justice and peace. Determined to help, Caroline dug into the library's archives, searching for any record of the librarian's death. She discovered that it had been ruled an accident, but the details were suspicious. She contacted the local historical society, sharing her findings and the journal. With the new evidence, the case was reopened, and the truth finally came to light. The librarian had been murdered by a jealous colleague, who was promptly arrested. With justice served, Caroline returned to the library one last time. She stood in the darkened room, feeling the cold presence again. "It's over," she whispered. "You can rest now." A sense of peace washed over her, and she felt the cold dissipate. The library, once haunted by a restless spirit, returned to its quiet, serene state. Caroline smiled, knowing the ghost had finally found peace, and left the library, locking the door behind her for the last time.